in today's video, I'm gonna teach you one of the most important skills that you need to learn as a footballer: how to cross the ball. No matter if you're a defender, a midfielder, or a striker, you need to know how to cross the ball, because if you get the ball outside of the box and you're in the final third, you wanna get that ball in the box. When you get the ball in the box with a good amount of pace and you can hit your teammate, that can lead to a goal scoring opportunity, which ultimately can get 3 points for your team, which is the most important thing for you to get to the next level. So it's important for you, and it's also important for your team. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you a couple different type of crosses, probably about 4 to 6 variations. I'm gonna take you through step by step, and then I'm gonna teach you how to practice the cross by yourself. Let's get into it. So the first step that we're gonna talk about is obviously your positioning. You have to be in the correct position on the pitch to cross the ball. So there's a couple different positions. You can either do an early cross, which can be honestly anywhere from the halfway line to the corner of the box. That early cross serves as an excellent way to put that ball in the mixer, put that ball in the box, and then it can either hit your teammate, which you're aiming for, or you just get that ball in the box, the opposition can clear it, your team can win that second ball, can win the scraps, and then get to goal immediately. The second type of cross that I like is just the chip to the back post. So for the chip to the back post, you can either be by the corner of the 18, or you can be at about halfway from the 8, or you can be at about from halfway from the 18 to the end line. Next thing you want to think about is how far you are from the touch line. So this obviously depends on where the ball is for your team, how your team likes to play. Generally for me as a left back, my team likes to switch the ball constantly. So what I'm trying to do is get on the outside on the end of the touch line, and then my goal either is to, as soon as I receive that ball on my left foot, I'm either taking that ball immediately inside, or depending on where the defender is, I'm taking that ball outside and then whipping the ball. That second cross is the chip to the back post. The third is the whip. So for me, the whip is getting a nice amount of curve, a nice amount of swerve on the ball. So that can be from anywhere, that depends where you are. And then the fourth one that I really like is the cutback. So that's when you can either beat your man 1v1, or you take that touch to the inside, you're on the end line, and then you cut that ball back. So that's the positioning aspect. So I'm gonna take you through all those crosses. And obviously the next thing we wanna talk about is whether you take 2 touches, 3 touches, 1 touch, and that obviously depends on the situation, so I can't give you that exact advice. But another cross that can also be done is a 1-touch cross. So as soon as that ball is coming in, if your team is in the box, you just play that ball into the box with 1 touch. So now let's talk about the approach when you're coming up to the ball. So what you want to do is you don't want to have any hesitation. Whether it's a 1-touch ball, 2-touch, or 3-touch ball, as soon as you take that touch, you don't want to have so many extra footsteps. Obviously it depends on the situation, depends on the individual, how he or she likes to cross, but generally you want to have a nice fluid motion, and then your goal is to, depending on the type of cross, but for most crosses you want your toes slightly up, and you want to hit the ball with the inside part of the foot near the big toe bone. So you want to hit the ball almost here. So then what you're going to do is you got to know exactly where to hit the ball. So you're almost hitting the ball like on the lower quarter of the ball. You don't want to hit it too high, you don't want to hit it too low. You have to hit it almost on the lower quarter of the ball, and you're trying to swerve around it. Your goal with most crosses, you're trying to get a whip on it so it really whips into the box. So that's going to come with an interesting type of follow through. So you're going to almost leave that foot up. So the toes are going to stay up. Ankle is locked, but toes are staying up. We've done videos before where we work the inside the foot pass, where we work chips, where we work drives, and a lot of those times we put that sole parallel to the floor. Here we want the toe slightly up because we're trying to get some nice curve on that ball, so your leg should almost go up afterwards. So the fifth thing that we're gonna talk about is aim. Should you actually aim for a specific player, or should you just get that ball in the box? So in the past, I thought that you should actually aim for a specific player, and sometimes you wanna do that depending on how many of the opposition are in the box, how many defenders are in the box, how many of your players are in the box. But this year I actually learned from our coach, which makes a lot of sense, is like, he just says get it into the area. Just whip it into the area, and a lot of good things can happen from that, not a lot of bad things. So if you get that ball into the area in between their back line and their keeper, that makes it very difficult for the keeper. You could ask any keeper, if you get it in between that zone, that danger zone, a couple things can happen. It can deflect off of their defenders into the goal. The keeper can be hesitant to come out, and then if your forward makes a nice run either to the back post, the center, or the front post, they could get a touch on it. So generally what I like to do now is just get it into the area. Obviously you want to pick your head up, you want to aim for your teammates, but you don't have to be so pinpoint and exact. Just get it into the danger zone and that danger area. So the next thing that we want to talk about, point 6, is the timing of the cross. This is going to be very important. So you can't put, like I said before in the 5th tip, you don't need to aim for someone, but you need to have the correct timing. You're not going to put the ball into the box if none of your teammates are in there. So what you want to do is you obviously, whether you're putting a 1-touch ball in, whether you're putting a 2-touch ball in, or you're beating your defender and you're putting a cutback in, you have to have the right timing. So obviously that happens during training. And that obviously happens by you being aware of your teammates' movement. So say, for example, you have a striker that always likes to go to the near post, and you have a number 10 that always likes to go to the back post. Then you have to figure out what their strengths are. For example, if your striker is better at hitting that ball with his feet, and he goes always to the near post, maybe you want to put that ball low. And if your number 10 is better with his head, maybe you want to chip that and always get it to his head. So you have to know your teammates, that's very important. And then obviously you have to keep your head up. Very important to always have your head up, always have your head on a swivel, because timing is huge. So basically when you're doing any cross, this is almost the exact zone that you want to aim in. This zone is very dangerous because what's happening is the center backs and the fullbacks, they're backpedaling. So the center backs and the fullbacks are backpedaling, and your goal is to get that ball whipped in nicely between the goalkeeper and the center back. So what you want to do is you want to hit that ball nicely so the goalkeeper is hesitant and scared to come out, and also the defenders have no idea how to open up and get that ball. So when you're practicing by yourself, you can do a couple things. Obviously, you want to work first on the wall by yourself, which I'll show you, but then also you want to put yourself in the exact position that you're playing to hit the ball in the specific part of the box. Everyone overcomplicates game specific and all that stuff. All you got to do is you just remake and redo the same exact motions that you do in a game during training. So if you're a right fullback, if you're a right back, and you hit, about 5 to 10 balls into the box during a game, and you're not accurate and you want to get better, you go to the same exact spot on the pitch, you take the balls, and you just practice hitting the ball into the position that you want to get the ball in. Obviously your technique has to be good, but you just got to practice and just do reps, reps, and reps. So the first cross that we're going to talk about is the cutback. So this is the cross where you get to the end line or almost towards the end line, and you fake like you're going to cross the ball across the box in a parallel direction, but really what you're doing is you're cutting that ball back. And depending on where your player is, like I said before, depending on knowing your teammates, where the player is that's going to hit that cutback really determines where you're going to play it. So for example, if I have a number 8 who's very good at just finishing the ball really nicely into the corner, like Tony Cruz, or even Kimmich has done this a lot, he gets a ball from the top of the D and can just slot it home really nicely with the inside of his foot. So if I have a player like that, I would do that. I would fake like I'm coming across, and then I would cut that ball back. So basically what this is going to require is you have to get fully around the ball. So for example, like I said before, if the ball is switching from the other side, you take a big touch, and then you get fully around the ball, and then you play the ball cut back to the D. So the way you're going to do that, this is actually more of a driven type of technique. Like I said, we're going to be doing multiple type of crosses. Like I said, get that ball, take yourself a big touch, maybe another touch if your timing isn't right, then you're getting around the ball, boom. Nice and firmly to the D. And like I said before, knowing your teammate, is the guy a left footer, is the guy a right footer? That determines where you're playing the ball. Because what you want to do is you want him or her to open up their foot and put that ball in the corner. It's hard to take a ball from across and come across and chop it across your body. So what you want them to do is open up their foot and be able to open up the hips to create more of a range of motion. So I'll show you a couple more. Your boy Ricky could get a little 1v1 with it. Boom, to the corner, cut back across. So very simple. Depending on how many balls you have, you take that amount of balls and you practice the exact move. So depending on what your favorite 1v1 move is, boom, across, come around the ball, cut that ball back. Boom, maybe you use a little inside outside down the line, cut that ball back. So in this situation, we were mostly aiming for the top of the D. We can also hit the penalty spot. So same exact thing, but we're aiming more for the penalty spot. You do your 1v1 move, PK spot. Boom, PK spot, around the ball, PK spot. So very simple, get your reps down, technique. So let's talk real quick about the exact technique. As you saw, the run up for this ball, you have to get fully around the ball, yeah? So you're getting fully around the ball, and my foot, it's almost like our driven ball that we've been working with. So you're fully around the ball. So if you're first facing here, you gotta get around the ball, and you're almost coming to the front side of the ball in the center. Front side of the ball, foot down, foot diagonal, boom, slice it back. So the next cross that we're gonna talk about is the chip. So we've done a video specifically on how to chip the ball. If you wanna get more in depth to the technique, you could check that out right here. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about the positioning on the pitch, where to do the chip, and where to aim. When you're chipping the ball, you usually wanna go to the back post. So you're looking to hit that guy who's kind of making that run in behind that the defenders don't see, chipping that ball into his or her head. So the way you train this, like I said before, if you want to be position specific, you get where you're on the field, boom, and the run up is a little similar to the cut back, but you're not getting fully around that ball. So what you're doing is you're coming side on to the ball, and what you want to do is you want to aim your foot, as I say, in the direction that you're playing the ball. So boom, you're around, you're getting underneath the ball, trying to chip that ball to the back post. So simply, all you can do, get that ball out the feet, boom, chip that ball. So we got our star forward in the box, 16 years old. How many goals do you have? 9, 10? 9. See? I know. 9 goals. Any scouts watching, we'll put his details below. So we're just working on the chip right now, a little pressure on him. Boom, chip it into the box. See that? Clinical. So as you see, you want to get really under the ball. Taking the touch out the feet, timing, boom, chipping the ball into the box, getting underneath. Boom, out the feet, around. Perfect. So the next one we're gonna work on is the driven ball. This is a ball that you can use depending on how fast you want that ball to get to your attacker. So the way you drive the ball, like we've talked about many times before, you point those toes down, you create a nice locked ankle, and you wanna hit the ball in between the laces and the inside of the foot. So if you just drag up your big toe, that's where you wanna hit it, that bone on your foot. And obviously when you're doing a cross, you have to time it properly. So you're getting that ball out the feet, boom, coming around. You want to get it to your striker's feet quickly. He takes a touch and finishes. So this is a cross I don't use a lot. I rather use the whip or the early ball, but this is another option. Ball out the feet, boom, you see your striker, right into him on the back post. Ball out the feet, around, boom. Wow, good finish, son. So we got 2 more crosses we're gonna work on. We're gonna work on the whip and then the early cross. So the whip is generally the most common type of cross. So the reason the whip is so good is because it works with the timing of your attackers, and like I said, it could throw the opposition off. So with the whip, this is the main one that I like to use. You're using the inside part of the foot, mostly close to this big toe bone. And this is where you're following through and you're trying to get a swerve on the ball. So this can be done anywhere on the pitch. The early cross, I generally like to use the whip as well. So that was a perfect one. Hit it towards the back post in the area that we're talking about. Good run by the striker. Scheisse, man. So what you're really trying to do is you're trying to get that swerve around so it comes into your striker at the right time. It's not an easy cross, but you got to work on it. So last one before we go into the early cross. So the last cross of the day, we're gonna be working on the early cross. So it's a similar type of cross to the whip. And all you're trying to do is you're trying to get that ball into the box early. Like I said, in between the goalkeeper and the back line, or you could just whip that ball in the box if you want to get that ball in the mixer, try to win that second ball and then get to goal. So similar type of technique, you're gonna need a little bit more power, get that ball out the feet, boom, into the box, and Baumanis finishes on the back post. Perfect, well done. Well done, son. Well done. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, make sure to go back, take the practical steps, and immediately implement it into your game. So the goal here is you take these 5-6 type of crosses. We went over the cutback, we went over the chip, we went over the whip, we went over the driven ball, and we went over the early cross. So same exact thing like you're gonna do in the game. Depending on what position you play, you take however many amount of balls that you have, you get into that position and you work on these type of crosses. Like I said, timing is important, positioning on the pitch is important, knowing your players is important, whether your 10 is a left foot or a right foot, if he likes to go to the near post or the back post, if your striker likes it on his head, you have to work that out in your own individual way as a player. Make sure you tell your homies about the RicFit YouTube channel, the best football development channel here on YouTube. Ricky out. Hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure you click one of these 2 videos right here to stay up to date with the best football development channel here on YouTube. And most importantly, don't forget to drink your sparkling water. Deuces.